record.
Alright.
Anyway,
Yeah.
wait, Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel. You think the Earth is? I heard you think the Earth is flat.
Anyways, what the heck? Yes, I'll just start, I guess. So, first and foremost, I just want to start some foundation for Maki. So, are you aware that Maki has neither carcinogen? So, my question is going to be, if Maki lacks carcinogen, would you agree that if Maki is outside of Marto's line of sight and that there's no physical indication of her presence, that you won't be able to sense her?
I wouldn't even see why it would start out with her being outside of his sight. And I don't think that she's fast enough to just simply outblitz his actual perception.
Yeah, I'm not saying that she's going to start off in that position. I'm just saying that if it's the case, pardon me?
If she's able to slip past it?
Yeah. If this is the case.
I could say so, but I don't see that happening to begin with, so I don't see why that would be a possibility.
Alright, sure, right. So I'll just kind of present the scaling. So are you aware that Maki is able to keep up with Naoya? Okay. You're aware that Naoya moves at the speed of sound?
So what exactly do you mean by keep up? Because he was in fact beating on her. She just had one few lucky attacks. Wait, hold on, my fault. Someone's mic is. Yes, me. Hold on, let me just. Okay. My fault. Did you hear me?
Yeah. So when I say keep up, if we look at the chapter and we look at how the fight plays out, we see that initially Naoya starts with punches and kicks. Maki's able to react to each one, blocking them. Then Naoya grabs her and throws her, and then she doesn't seem to be the least bit she seems to be damaged physically, but she can still perceive him, etc., etc. And then obviously she wins the fight. So I think by keep up here, what I'm saying, she's able to react for the most part.
So I think there's differences because in combat speed, I wouldn't really say he's moving at that level. Because this same forgot his name already. The same Naoya or whatever the fuck. He literally fought what's that cursed painting name? That cursed painting is literally just relative to Yuji. And I wouldn't say Yuji is specifically the speed of sound. So if you're just using that line, because he has no feats to prove he is in combat wise. So I would say Naoya only has that level of speed when it comes to travel.
Yeah, but what's the basis for just being travel speed?
Because that's where this statement is based off of. There's nothing suggesting that it's referring to his combat. Because again, he fought multiple people who wouldn't really have that actual line of scaling when it comes to combat.
But if Maki can react to that travel speed and then move in a way to counter that travel speed or that moving object, then you'd agree that she can also move at that speed?
She can have aim dodging, so that would basically just be my fault. Just to sum up what aim dodging is, she can just simply be reacting and sensing him before she even needs to directly react with her perception. So she can get out of the way of a bullet before she needs to actually dodge the bullet itself.
Yeah, so typically when we use the term aim dodging, right, it's if we break it down logically, it's aim, so based on our eyesight, and then dodging. So for example, if someone has a gun pointed at me, I might try to predict when they'll pull the trigger and then move out the line of sight of the gun, right? But this is different because in the instant where we see Maki react, now he's behind her, so now he's not really in her line of sight. And so it begs the question of what sense was she using to aim dodge as opposed to just reacting to the movement from behind her?
So that's why I literally referred to the actual ability of her sensing. So aim dodging isn't only based on perception itself. It can be based on how you can react as well. So I gave 2 examples of her basically seeing her or just sensing in general.
Okay.
So I can show you the. Yeah, I can also just show you the. Okay, I got you.
I'll just give you an example then and see if this example is kind of analogous to what you're trying to tell me. So take for example, I don't know, take for example a paper airplane, right? If I throw a paper airplane at someone that isn't facing me, and then based on the sound of the paper airplane, I don't know, cutting through the wind, they move their head to evade it. Would you say that this is in a similar way to what you're describing when you say aim dodge, or is this analogy like insufficient?
I can say both of those. It's just different forms of aim dodging.
Okay, and so I think that one form of aim dodging, when we use aim dodging, one form of it doesn't scale to your speed, and that form is like involving predictions. So if I predict what someone's going to do before they do it, I don't actually scale to the speed of the attack. Rather, I just predicted it before they attacked. Or if you're trying to argue that Marky aim dodged by using her senses to react to his movement, she's still using her senses, right? So she's still using her senses to react to the actual attack, not just predicting the attack's like direction or etc. And so I do think it would still scale to her speed.
Okay, so I think we need to define exactly which version of Nahito you're talking, or now whatever the fuck his name is. I think you would have to like show the exact scan, because he came back as a cursed spirit and was blitzing her, and then the only time she's able to actually react to him is when she's able to sense him, or again.
Oh yeah, that's not what I'm talking about.
So you're talking about when they're just fighting?
Yeah, I'm talking about perfect preparation. So maybe you were a bit confused. You were likely talking about Sakura colony.
Yeah.
Like the curse now, yeah. No, I'm talking about human now, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can send the scans of those, because I don't believe it worked that way. I think as soon as she actually started using that speed, she was just reacting, as in like predicting him completely. Because again, if you're not looking at the opponent, but you're able to react to it, what does that refer to outside of sensing and predicting? Which can be the same thing as well. So I don't know exactly what you're trying to argue.
I'll show you.
I got you. Are you gonna send any general or scans?
Text the bits. I don't have click panels.
I don't see the. Oh, okay. Under general.
Yo, who has Maki?
Me.
Dubs.
Okay, yeah. Give me a sec. So if we check text of it, you can see quite explicitly it says, so she knew she was at a disadvantage in a protracted fight. Protracted just means drawn out or extraneous fight against Naoya, who had already surpassed, meaning gone beyond, subsonic speed. And subsonic just refers to any sort of speed that is below the speed of sound. And so if he's gone beyond this, then at the bare minimum, we can assume that he's at the speed of sound, so Mark 1, right? And then we see that right after this, Naoya's like saying, I'm going to wipe you out using maximum speed, charges, and then Marky turns around and like punches him in the face. And then says, with my like new body, I can see your movements clearly.
Okay, so this doesn't necessarily prove speed of sound itself. Like, who's to say that he doesn't get, I guess, 0.1 times faster, to the point where, yeah, it can get faster than this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it automatically reaches Mach 1, right? Because, for example, you can be this speed, huh?
No, you can go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say you can be the speed of lightning, which is essentially still is slower than light. It's basically 1 point. I don't even want to go into the calculations, but the entire point is it doesn't necessarily mean that it would be the speed of sound. And then again, we're referring to the cursed version of Nahio, or whatever the fuck his name is. Once again, I'm gonna just call him N, because I'm bad with Japanese names. Anyway, so N himself we know that when he's in his cursed spirit, that's when he essentially starts moving at that level of speed. And then again, it's already stated that he would be a superior form. So I don't see why that would immediately backtrack or be a contradiction for that to make any sense. So
Yeah,
I don't necessarily think that he was going at that speed. And then I don't want a shotgun, so you could go ahead.
Yeah, give me a sec. I'm just writing this out formally.
Okay. Yeah, because I also wanted to say that he was also kind of blitzing her during this fight.
Yeah, you can show me those scans, but basically I think you're mixing up the quantifications. So we see that when Maki fights the cursed spirit Naoya, the speed that Naoya is moving at is far faster than the speed of sound. So at his maximum speed as a cursed spirit, the speed he moves at is quantified at Mach 3. So that's 3 times the sound. And so I don't think it's fair to say that because she was getting blitzed by that Naoya, who's massively faster than this one, that therefore she cannot be faster than sound, or she can't be at the speed of sound. And then furthermore, if you check the argument I sent here, right, it says that any person is subsonic, and you're only subsonic if and only if you are slower than the speed of sound, right? Because obviously to be subsonic is to be slower than the speed of sound. When we say someone is subsonic, we're saying in essence that they are slower than the speed of sound. And so if it says here that Naoya has surpassed subsonic speed, in other words, he has surpassed slower than the speed of sound speed, then it cannot follow then that Naoya is subsonic. And then obviously if Maki can react to something that is not subsonic, it should follow then that Maki also isn't subsonic, because how can she react and outpace someone who is faster than her? To outpace means to be faster. And so I think with this kind of logic, we can definitely make a connection and say Maki at the very least is at the speed of sound. But if you think you already responded, then we can conclude if you'd like.
Of course. So I just want to post the fight just to give context as to what you're trying to say, right? So the entire time she's blitzing, or specifically he's blitzing the fuck out of her to the point where she's barely even able to keep up. So even if you look in the first scan, while she's literally trying to keep up with him, she's predicting or counting or tracking, keeping track of time for how he moves. The reasoning as to why she's obviously trying to do this is to predict when he eventually reaches his full speed, because at this point when she is reacting, he's not really using his full speed. But in these sections of these scans, right, this is when he's deciding to use his full speed. She's no longer reacting, right? So what I'm saying is when she's counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at the last moment when she starts throwing the actual scan, she legitimately predicts it and tells him that she predicts it. Actually, yeah, you just posted a scan, right? It's 27 times, isn't it? Right? So again, she's obviously using some form of aim dodging, some form of prediction in order to keep up with him. Otherwise, that's why she wasn't even fighting him, and she was just standing stationary in one actual area waiting for him to come to her, because she's essentially already knowing that she's not able to keep up with him. So she just basically gives that up, and it referred to a defensive measure. So I don't think that this scales her speed at all if she's, again, using aim dodging on top of the senses and on top of the fact that she's confirming that she's counting for a said reason. That reason being based on his prediction or her prediction, trying to predict him.
Yeah, so let's go through like the scans that you sent, and then we can see whether it like leads to the conclusion you're trying to draw out. So
Yeah, okay.
in the first scan, we see that Naoya is attacking and she's counting. Obviously counting the amount of punches that he's throwing. So we're assuming that he's using his projection sorcery technique to throw a punch at every frame. So she's saying 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11. The fact that she's able to block and react up to this point seems to tell that at least at this point she can keep up with him. And then we see that Naoya grabs Maki's arm, and then Maki's frozen. If you look at the top right corner, she's frozen. Obviously, her being frozen for 1 second means she can't actually react to anything physically. Maybe she's able to perceive the state, we don't really know. But she's frozen physically, she can't move. And so her getting hit here isn't really going to be indicative of her being unable to keep up. Rather, now he just uses one of the gimmicks of his technique to freeze her and make her like unable to respond, right? And then obviously she gets sent flying. As she's getting sent flying, Naoya capitalizes on, her ragdollness and then begins to kick her again. And then she's still counting up to this point, which entails that she can perceive him. However, she just wasn't able to react because of the state that she was put in prior. Obviously, he charges towards her again, grabs her, throws her, etc., etc. But there's nothing here that shows that she's unable to really keep up with him. I think that the only reason why she was unable to keep up with him before was because she was put in a disadvantaged position as a result of the being frozen and getting kicked and whatnot. And then nearing the end, we see when Naya like dashes ahead of her and whatnot. The whole aim dodging thing, I keep kind of like reinforcing this, emphasizing this. If it really is the case that she's aim dodging, then it would either involve A, some form of prediction, or B, under your definition of aim dodging, she's reacting using her senses. I don't really see how she's predicting any of his movements here. Her counting is just her figuring out how the technique works. That's why at the end she says, your movements are split into 24 every second. With this body, I can finally see them clearly. So she can clearly perceive them, right? And that's why she says, oh, yeah, I've realized, blah, 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 this is your technique. It's the secret behind your speed. I don't really see how she's predicting anything. I think was some more parsimonious explanations that she just waits for him to pull up and then counters, because obviously he's moving at top speed. But yeah.
Okay, so number one, that doesn't really negate what I was saying. In fact, you're agreeing to the point that I just made about her using her senses, which is correlated to her prediction. So for an example, if you're not looking at a person, but you're able to somehow react to them, that by definition, that would be prediction. And by definition, all she's doing is predicting with her senses, right? As for her reacting to it, but this isn't the fastest version of Nai or N, right? That's the reasoning as to why she's able to, in the first panel, react or keep up with him. But as for the actual point where he starts to speed up, she no longer is even fight back. And then again, we're talking about an actual version of the character who's not even at his fastest yet, where she's now getting blitzed. So yeah, I give you the fact that she's obviously at the beginning of it, where he's not at his fastest, able to react to him. But as soon as he uses that ability to basically put her into her frame and then kick her, she's obviously touching the ground. And then as soon as she lands back on the ground, right, she's still counting. So it's not like she's just simply doing that because of how much time she's getting hit. And it's also not because of the fact that she's seeing his move, right? Because again, if she's seeing him move, she would be looking directly at him. But as you can see, he's already airborne, right? So he's not even moving. He's in the air, kicked her into the wall, and she's staring at him while he's airborne. So again, what exactly would she be reacting to or counting if he's not even moving while airborne? I don't see why that would make any sense, right? And then again, we're talking about as soon as he obviously gets back on the ground, he immediately, and I'm talking about immediately, starts blitzing her once again. After he blitzes her, you can see in the scan where Gojo and Toji is clearly being spoken of. He basically says, the one who stands with them. Maki starts running after him, and it ends up still getting blitzed. Keep in mind, this is still not the fastest version of him. Then he gets, I keep confusing him. She gets blitzed once again. So she got blitzed the first time in a Gojo scan where it says the one who stands with them is me. That's a blitz. And then she gets hit again. He runs away, and then she clearly said, this is bad. So this is the moment where he starts to get at his fastest. And this is the exact moment where she's just like, fuck it. Let me not even try to react to the guy, right? And this is where he actually starts saying, strength is weight and speed. I'll punch her at my top speed. This is where she starts to open her arm, and this is where the statement is now being spoken of, him now being above a little bit. We don't even know because it's not quantified. If you was going to make some type of speculation, it would automatically be basis if there's no evidence of it. So unless you are actually using some form of evidence to prove that it's actually the speed of sound, we don't really have any justification as to why that would be the case, right? But again, just to continue, as soon as he actually uses his fastest actual speed, she slaps him. Or no, he slaps her. As soon as he slaps her, he basically turns around, and this is where she's literally predicting him and sensing him via the prediction, which is what I'm trying to say. Right. So again, this is the reason why she's able to predict him, because she was tracking his actual ability, not the actual speed, because again, she wasn't able to react to him to do so, especially when he went his fastest. So again, she's not reacting to the actual movement; she's reacting to the ability and how it works. We know that based on his father, the ability is literally using framework, right? So 24 frames is where the limit would be. So as soon as the 24 seconds was up, that's where she starts punching the guy, and that's where she starts reacting via the aim dodging ability. So I don't think that really negates what I was trying to make a point of. But that's pretty much it. You could go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. So, in regards to the first bits, obviously everything before the "you are not Toji" bit, I'm saying that she's obviously getting hit while down. So prior to this, she can react. Then he grabs her, freezes her, and then does her little combo. Obviously, she can't move and react to it because she's already been placed in a combo. It's not a speed thing. And then in regards to the one who stands with him thing, I don't actually think she's charging towards him. If we look at the movement lines and the prior panel, she gets thrown through the rock or thrown into the rock. And then I think what happens is Naoya circles around the rock and then hits her. But even still, even if that was the case, that's fine because obviously Naoya's not in her line of sight. And I'm not trying to say that she can react to him at every single point in time. Getting hit once and twice doesn't really denounce the idea of relativity, because to be relative is to kind of have both opponents be able to hit each other. But the whole idea is just that after she gets frozen, she's put in this position where, oh, I'm already like flying through the air, I've already been hit. All I should focus on now is taking the attack. And if you look at the scan I sent here, you asked if she's airborne, why is she counting still? So Naoya has a gimmick that he does when he uses his technique. And if you look in the bottom right panel, he hops up and down on one leg, right? And so he does this. I think my explanation for this is that he wants to maintain his momentum through projection sorcery, but I don't really know why he does it. However, the fact that she's still counting implies that he's keeping his technique active and constantly moving through the hopping up and down, which is why she's still counting frames, even though he appears to be airborne, because at this point, he's hopping up and down and preparing for another attack. I think that would be the most consistent explanation of what we've seen from Naoya thus far. And in regards to the prediction thing, let me talk about this is bad first. Let's go in order. When she says this is bad, it's obviously being contextualized to a protracted fight. So this is bad. If I continue to fight Naoya for long, right, like this, then obviously I'm going to lose, right? So she doesn't want to have a drawn-out fight, which might explain why she doesn't go and chase down Naoya, because obviously in terms of speed, Naoya is still faster than her, right? This doesn't mean, however, that she can't keep up with him. It just means that if she chooses this method of winning or trying to fight him, it's going to bring out the fight for longer than it needs to be brought out, which is probably where she chooses to be defensive. And then for the prediction thing, you kind of made like a disjunction that I don't really agree with. She said, if someone isn't being looked at and yet they still react, it's prediction. But we have a vast array of other senses, such as like our hearing, our sense of touch, like tactile, that we can sense without our sense of sight. And so it could just be the case then that Maki's using her sense of hearing to hear Naoya's footsteps perhaps, and use her hearing to track him as he moves behind her. And then once he reaches like a good or suitable distance, she turns around and reacts, which might be consistent with the whole Maki has a new body, this new body is like really durable and really strong and has better senses, etc., etc. You can go ahead.
Okay, yeah, let me keep this one short since people want me to. So number one.
Now recording.
What the fuck? Okay, so number one, the actual jumping that you used in your scan, that's just a form of fighting. So as a martial artist, you can use that just to basically. So for an example, Ryu from Street Fighter, he does this. Bruce Lee, when you look at his movies, he does this. It's not because there's any evidence of it needing momentum. As for your point, again, this does not negate what I was trying to make a point of, because again, she's still using prediction on top of aim dodging. Again, I already explained why she's not able to react to him. Therefore, she gave up trying to react to him and just simply waited for his ability to be timed out or reach its limit. Again, none of that really debunks or address what I was trying to make a point of. But
I also want
you could go ahead, but I just want to say one last thing. I'm gonna send a definition of aim dodging because I just remembered you brought up hearing. That's still a part of the senses. But yeah, go ahead.
That's fine. So yeah, I just want to make clear, if you check the scan, it says you had already surpassed subsonic speed. So it implies that now he was already moving at the speed of sound before. So obviously, if I say I have already done this, it's referring to past, right? Hold on me a sec. My baby sister's outside.
Wait, what'd you say? Hello? My baby sister is grieving me. Oh, it'd be like that sometimes. We can conclude. Wait, can you still hear me, by the way?
Oh, yeah, she's gone. Yeah, we can conclude if you like.
Yeah, I just have a few more arguments to address what you were saying. But can you repeat that last one? You cut out at the last moment.
Yeah, I was going to say that the fact that it says had already surpassed implies that this has been done in the past. So if I say I've already done my homework or I've already gone to the store, it implies then that this happened before the current time. And so him saying, or the narrator saying, had already surpassed subsonic speed seems to imply that he had already been moving at or past subsonic speed since the past, and is now, once he hits top speed, moving much faster or faster than the speed he was moving at prior. And that was just probably going to be the last thing I wanted to add on.
So yeah, that's basically the narration speaking about that, but that's what I'm referring to at that exact moment. So at that exact moment, that's the exact moment it's referring to. I said that so many times. But at that exact moment, that's when it's referring to the fact that he's actually surpassing subsonic speed, not the speed of sound. Subsonic is obviously below. And again, there's still some form of questioning on whether or not he is reaching the level of the speed of sound. So that's like what I'm putting into question with no evidence to support what you're saying. Well,
I presented like quite a good rationale, quite a good basis for us to believe that he is at the very least at the speed of sound, if not higher. So I think we can just conclude and save the
Shut up, see.
No, so what I'm saying, you can give your rationale, but what I'm saying is that it's fallacious and it's a baseless claim.
I don't think I said an argument for it. So I said, if it's the case, okay, what does it mean to be at subsonic speed? Like, define subsonic speed.
You want the calculation? Or just
define it. Like, what is subsonic speed?
Just to sum it up, it's anything, it's a set of speed that's below the speed of sound.
Okay, subsonic. Sure. So I say, for example, Blue Marble is moving at subsonic speed. That would be akin to me saying Blue Marble is moving at speed below the speed of sound, right? Okay. Now, if it's stated that Naoya has surpassed subsonic speed, to surpass is to go beyond, right? Okay, so Naoya has gone beyond a speed below the speed of sound. So what speed is Naoya at now? At the bare minimum?
No, so what I'm saying is, okay, so let me try to summarize. So who's to say that it still wouldn't be a tiny bit above subsonic speed? Right, because there's a terminology where it's just real quick. There's a terminology where it's literally just subsonic plus. I can send that definition to you. So that's the one step that's obviously after subsonic, but before speed of sound.
Yeah. So what would subsonic plus be? Would subsonic plus just be below the speed of sound? Because to me, it seems like there's no distinction between these terms. I think it's kind of arbitrary. So subsonic, you define subsonic to be below the speed of sound. I'm assuming subsonic plus is also below the speed of sound. So then what's the distinction there that makes us call one subsonic and one subsonic plus? Is it just like a quantification difference? Like one is, I don't know, Mach 0.5 and one's Mach 0.75, for example.
So yeah, let me just show you the speed tier, right? Hold on. It's uploading. Okay, right here. So there's superhuman, there's subsonic, there's faster than the eye, and then there's subsonic plus, transonic, and then supersonic, which is essentially just speed of sound, sonic.
Yeah, perfect. So would you still
Oh,
agree then
goodness.
that subsonic,
I agree. Yeah.
subsonic plus transonic, these are all going to be included within the category of waking yourself?
Wait, you kind of lagged out. You said it's all going to be in the category of what? All I'm saying is that doesn't really prove that it's sonic or the speed of sound. But yeah, if you want to conclude, I mean, there's no real judge to conclude for, but you want to move on to another point?
C1.
Hello? Oh, I'm getting even tired than normal. Oh yeah, I said it was fallacious as well. Let me just get this real quick.
My fault. I'm back. Babe sister
Alright.
again. Yeah, would you like to conclude or like, or did you give an argument? Oh, actually,
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say, you still agree that subsonic plus, transonic are still going to be categorized under like the umbrella term, right, of subsonic, which is just subsonic is a speed that's below speed of sound. Obviously, you can have like distinct subsets of subsonic, but overall, it's still going to be categorized under the main set of subsonic, no?
Of subsonic?
Yeah.
Sure, but I think what's in question is whether or not it's the speed of sound.
So, are you arguing that the narrator of JJK, Gege Akutami, when he used the word subsonic here, he was using the Versus Battle Wiki definition of subsonic?
No, so there's no difference. So it's the same calculation.
No, but see, the thing is, if we look at the Versus Battle Wiki, it says subsonic faster than the eye, then subsonic plus, then transonic. I think what it's doing here is it's saying you are this fast if you're faster than the eye, and then anything above that faster than the eye type of speed is going to be subsonic plus, but it's still going to be categorized under the main term of subsonic, which is below the speed of sound. Both speeds are subsonic. It's just giving us greater clarification of what qualifies for the speed, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I don't think that makes any sense. So, are you trying to say that the speed of sound would be the subsonic speed?
No. I'm trying to say that, okay, now you have surpassed subsonic speed. Wait, oh my word. Give me a sec.
No, yeah, it's cool. We could just postpone if it's. Let me just say it. You need to go? Oh, okay.